they probably deserve it. They've been the best over the whole season.
Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of FIF TV. It's me, Dov. I'm joined by Mr. Vieri Capretta, Italian football journalist. Right, so it's been a while since we've done just straight questions. So we're going to do questions. However, before we do questions, click on the link in the description and go and visit the FIF shop where you can get lovely, wonderful things such as Battistuta merchandise, Diego Maradona, Zanetti, Maldini, all the teams apart from Juve because they don't like us very much. So
when Serie A was great.
Basically when Serie A had amazing, fantastic, wonderful players, all the teams, click on the link below. It's wonderful and fantastic, and I'm sure you'll find something that you like. So after you've done that, then let's do some Serie A questions, Vieri. First question, a simple one. Do Juventus deserve the Scudetto? Simple as that. They're the winners now, they've got it, but is it deserved?
One word answer, yes. Because often when a team wins the league, they probably deserve it. They've been the best over the whole season. It's not like a cup competition. Having said that, I think what can be said about Juventus is how they've managed all the critical moments. They came out with the mentality. Napoli's been very dependent on Juve have done this, so
we need to do this.
And often that means we'll implode. It literally happened a couple of times. Thinking about when they lost against Rome at home, just an hour after Juve had beaten Lazio. Same happened obviously when they lost in Florence, and Juve beat Inter. So the mentality, again, always that same mentality.
Well, that's the thing. I was talking to a few people who've been at Juve for a while and then obviously followed other clubs. And the thing that they said when they go to Juve is the mentality. And I think you mentioned it as well recently. We were talking about a journalist friend of ours who, when he was doing an interview at Inter, and then when he did an almost identical interview at Juventus, the way that the clubs operate. Obviously, this is Inter, not Napoli, but the way that the clubs
it's all in the same kind of.
They're all like
they're very careful about all the details because there's a big club and directors behind them. So they've changed coach, they've changed players, and but they keep on winning.
The foundation, the fundamentals is still there. So when new people come in, it just continues rolling as it does.
Obviously, we'll see if anything changes with losing like someone like Buffon. So that's going into the future. But obviously, this season they still had that group of players. And they've got the best group of players as well. They've made big investments on the transfer market. Nobody can deny they've got most cash money, and they spend it quite well as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I think having that, at the end of the day, is like when you've got the best players, you might not play your best, but they can produce a moment of quality, which happened often this season, and then that will get you 3 points.
Yeah, I think with Juve as well, they probably deserve the Scudetto because they are very good at doing the bare minimum and then having one of their key players sort things out. Be it Dybala, Higuain, Douglas Costa. So I have the feeling that if Juve had to do more points than the ones they've done to win it, they probably would have done it.
Yeah, probably.
I'm thinking if they had to beat Napoli at home, I think they would have won that game. It's a very personal opinion, but they give you that idea of we don't need to win that game, so we won't.
Yeah.
When we do need to do it, we're there because we've got the best players, the most options. We can sit back and defend. We can attack when needed.
They've got a coach that can
variety
change things around. Yeah, it can change things. Play three.
That Napoli haven't had this season.
Yeah, I think so. So I think you can't deny it. They've won the league on merit, so they do deserve it. Now let's move on because Mr. Donnarumma at Milan, not Antonio, Gianluigi, has come in for a bit of criticism after his performance in the Coppa Italia, in which he was horrendous and arguably cost Milan the game. Is he overhyped?
He's definitely overhyped because he's got very good press. Obviously, having someone like Mino Raiola helps. He's been perhaps paid too much. Got a 6.5 million euros a season contract. at 18
we've got
doesn't
to
happen.
Yeah, well, we've got to give off some kind of like leeway on that, because if somebody at 18 years old gave me a contract for €6.5 million, I would not be sitting here right now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't make it to 21. It's just crazy.
We could do a whole separate video on what we would do with €6.5 million.
Exactly. I think obviously with that comes added pressure to perform, being one of the highest paid players in the entire league, and when he does make mistakes like this, they're amplified, or they get criticised more.
It's inevitable. Like, obviously people didn't like how he dealt with the whole contract renewal, Raiola's big influence, what he said or he did not say. All these things add up, and a lot is expected of him. He's definitely been overhyped, but in a way it's understandable, because he's got 3 Serie A seasons in the bag and he's 19.
Yeah. And I think
can you imagine that?
Well, I think as well, something that again we've spoken about off camera, and I think is a good point, is instinct-wise, which you said. He's got great instincts, the reaction saves, things that he doesn't need to think about, and they just come naturally. He's fantastic at them. Pulls off some amazing saves. You think, how can you do that?
Even in that same Coppa Italia final against Dybala just before he then conceded.
But then when he's got the kind of technical things, the things that you work on in training, like catching a ball, like commanding the box,
knowing what to do when,
he doesn't do it, and that's cost Milan a lot of points.
I think though that's not a huge issue, because that's something you can work on. Instinct is something you're born with. Technical, what you do in terms of catching it, punching it away is something he can learn, and he could be, if you think about him in 3 years' time with another couple of seasons at top level, he could be 21, 22, and have 5 seasons of experience, have completed the whole learning curve, and then do 10, 15 years at the top. Yeah. So there's plenty of time. He's overhyped now, but
one kind of word I would say, that when things like this happen to goalkeepers, when they make bad mistakes, and Gattuso even said that his mind wasn't kind of quite right afterwards, that can really affect the goalkeeper. I've seen many a goalkeeper be fantastic when they're young. They have a few kind of bad games or bad months, and it just ruins their mentality. So we'll see. He probably won't be in Milan next season, so he'll maybe doing it in Paris possibly, or in Spain, who knows. Right, next up, the big one. Inter or Lazio? Who deserves the Champions League?
Lazio. Moving on.
Right, moving on. No, but I think this is the thing. Deserving it, yeah. Lazio have been consistent all year.
Yeah.
In terms of they haven't had any long periods of bad form.
They've had some ups and downs,
but they've played in Europe. They've played in the Coppa. And they've got a small squad in comparison to Inter.
Less experienced players, perhaps, and at the same time, a less experienced coach.
Less quality players as well.
Yeah.
And Simone, overall the quality of that squad isn't what you would. It's not as good as Inter.
They've spent less money for it. They've definitely deserved.
They've done amazingly well, and they should be in the Champions League if it wasn't for bloody Crotone. But it's great for Serie A to have this game.
On the final day of the season, it's amazing. It's basically a final, and obviously Lazio can get away with the draw. But it's great for Serie A to have this kind of game. In the same way, it will be great for Serie A, better for Serie A, to have Inter in the Champions League next season, because they're more prone to investments and they've got that European mentality that Lazio perhaps lack.
Yeah, if they get that money, then that means they could possibly put a squad together that could challenge for Scudettos. And once you get in the Champions League these days, that money helps and it kind of keeps you there. So I think, and it'll be good for us as well, because we live in Milan, so we can go and see more Champions League. So yeah, Lazio probably deserve it, but it probably would be better for Inter to get into the competition for the kind of long-term health of Serie A. And then just quickly, relegation. Who goes down, Vieri? You commentated Bologna-Chievo at the weekend.
I'll have
a great win.
I think Crotone, even if they do win, they'll probably go down anyway. Udinese is the one I think deserves to go down the most, considering the squad they've got. It's either Crotone or Cagliari, without a doubt.
Yeah, so there you go. Chievo probably safe, Spal probably safe. We'll see what happens at the weekend. So, let us know your thoughts. Leave a comment below. What do you think about Donnarumma? Do Juve deserve the title? Who do you think will win the big clash at the weekend between Lazio and Inter? Leave a comment. Remember, follow us on social media, on Twitter and Facebook. And until next time, people, there's nothing left for me to say apart from arrivederci.